Oi, pessoal. Eu sou o Bruno Ascari, esse daqui é o Som De Peso, e hoje eu tô aqui para poder conversar com o grande David Cross. A gente está fazendo essa entrevista aqui porque agora no dia 28 de outubro, ele e uma banda aqui do Brasil, chamada Dialeto, eles vão tocar no Teatro Sabesp Frei Caneca, e depois no dia 30 de outubro eles vão tocar em Porto Alegre, lá no Rio Grande do Sul. Eu vou deixar o link aqui embaixo para que vocês possam entrar lá, comprar. A gente se vê aqui no show de São Paulo. E agora a gente vai começar a nossa entrevista. So, David, thank you so much for your time, for your patience to be here and to talk about your music, your career. It's such an honor to be talking to you because I'm 32 years old. I'm a huge prog fan since I was maybe 12, 13. So talking to you, it's a huge, huge honor. So thank you so much for this.
That's very kind of you, and thank you very much for inviting me. Thanks.
Thank you. So I have to start our conversation. I always like to do some things chronologically. So I was researching for this interview, and I couldn't find it. When did you start playing? Like, did you start when you was a child? Why did you choose the violin to play? If you started playing the violin, and what was your first and most important influences on the beginning to develop your musicianship?
I started playing, I think, when I was about 9.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when I was at my primary school. And they offered, you could learn 2 instruments in the group. You could either learn recorder
Mm-hmm.
or violin. And I was interested. I'd always been interested. My dad was semi-pro musician, and I was always been interested in music.
What did he
And
play?
he was a pianist and organist,
Mm.
but they weren't offering that. They offered violin, and I was quite interested in that. I can't remember which came first, but I know that we had a day out in where I grew up in Plymouth. And we had a day out in Plymouth in southwest England, and we had a day out about 10 miles away, a train trip to a country town. And in this town there was a second-hand shop, a shop with used goods, and in there was a violin, a tiny violin. And I said I'd like it. My parents were looking and they were interested. I remember it cost £1, and which is quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think my father earned about £11 a week at the time. So
Wow.
So anyway, we bought it and brought it back and took it on the train. And when we looked it up on the train, it didn't make much of a noise, and it took my father a while to work out and ask a friend what was wrong with it. It didn't have a bridge on it, basically, the thing that was, the strings sitting.
Yeah, when you are starting to learn, it almost sounds like a screaming cat.
No, it didn't ever sound like that. Because they don't let you use the bow first of all. So
Okay.
we had to start in banjo position. We had to
Mm-hmm. Okay.
pluck it and pluck the open strings and open strings first, fingers, etc. So that's how it started anyway. And it was lessons were good. It was just group lessons, and I did that for I think a couple of years, 2 years I think, before I went on to my secondary school. And then I had individual lessons there once a week until I left school.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the beginning of my playing the violin.
Okay, and what was your first influences? Some classical, some jazz?
Well, it was live music actually, not recorded music. I didn't see a record player. I don't know how old I was when I saw my first record player. It would have been. I remember it was a kind of toy record player that uncle and aunt had brought back from Hong Kong. They'd been
Mm-hmm.
thing back, and there was a thing called Tubby the Tuba. There was a little red plastic record I think I used to listen to over and over again. So I remember that from when I was young. But there was always music, because my father was a pianist. We had 2 pianos in the house, and so I always heard piano being played. My brother also played piano. So that was kind of the earliest thing. My father was also a church organist and choir master. So when I was old enough, I joined the church choir.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been singing in the choir with that, and later on, my father gave me some organ lessons as well. So he taught me a few things, as I kind of was interested. He had a little toy xylophone. I remember that's the earliest thing I remember playing.
Mm.
There's a tune called the Sky Boat Song, which I played on the xylophone, little toy xylophone. And later on, I remember him showing me how to do chords for it on piano, and that was both of those really stayed in my memories. Some inspirational moments, particularly the chords. When he showed me how to play chords with the tune, it was it was like the keys to a whole new world. Just total world, magical.
Yeah, sure. It's a kind of a different freedom to your body, to your mind, to your soul.
Yes, that's right. Yes, very, very, very emancipating. So that's where I started. So it was live music, singing in church. So it was church music, live music. My father was also a dance band pianist, played jazz, but of course I never got to see that because it was always in the evenings.
Yeah.
In bars and hotels and places where I wasn't allowed to go. So it took a long time before I saw him doing his more kind of
Yeah.
more
stuff. And when do you started to play with bands? I was researching, reading. I heard you have a band called Waves. Is this like a jazz fusion band? What was the sound of it?
It was it was basically a rock band. We didn't, and the influences were kind of folk and we did also some kind of more kind of Indian influence stuff. I mean, I very, very much enjoyed a band called Indo Jazz Fusions that I'd seen when I was at college when I was training to be a music teacher. I really liked what they were doing, so that stayed in my head, in my heart. But folk music was quite important because that's really how I kind of got into playing.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, playing the violin. I didn't think anybody wanted a violin in rock band. And so it was that kind of thing. It was a sort of mixture of stuff with guitar, bass, drums, violin, and anyway, that's the sort of stuff we were doing. Yeah.
So you are listening to folk, like you mean the old folk tunes, or bands like Fairport Convention, and things like this, or both?
Both really. We before Waves. Waves was a band that never did any gigs at all. We just rehearsed, wasted other people's money. No, we just but before that, when I came to London, I came with a band called The Ring, and that was basically a 3-piece, which was on its kind of acoustic version was tabla, violin, and acoustic guitar.
Wow.
And then we kind of did a rock version of it with guitar, drums, and violin without a bass. We didn't think of having a bass. And we used to play gigs like that. So we used to play everywhere really. We used to do a lot of university gigs
Mm-hmm.
and folk clubs. We did a lot of folk clubs. And that was, easy just to walk in there, have a tryout. So you could just turn up and say, "Well, can we try out tonight? And see if you like us,
Yeah.
book us back if you do." And we just kind of we're living from hand to mouth, really, just getting our work that way. So I heard quite a lot of folk music at that time, in London and around, folk clubs around that time. But certainly folk rock was kind of Fairport, etc. was booming around that time.
Yeah. And how did you get in contact with Robert Fripp before joining King Crimson?
We were in touch. We got in touch with the same EG management who were managing King Crimson and Roxy Music, and then we asked them to come down and see the band playing. They came down, and Robert came down with them. And that was that. We didn't get a deal with them. I went and had a talk with them about some things they wanted to change. After that, after I'd been in to see him, I got a call from Robert to say, was I interested in doing working on an album with him and a percussionist called Jamie Muir.
Yeah.
And the idea was to do a kind of Indian improvised album. So it was to be raga-based album, largely improvised. So we got together with the three of us and we did some improvisations around at Jamie's house in Highbury in London. And that was it. We never did make the album.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of got into that. And then after that, Robert must have had the idea of kind of merging that trio with rock, drums and bass, which is when we moved to the next stage and had another jam session. John Wetton wasn't there, so it was this trio again, with Bill Bruford coming.
Yeah.
So there were the four of us, and at that point, Bill had to decide whether he was going to stay in Yes or whether he was going to, we talked about the idea of this being King Crimson, and that was what decided that's what we would do.
Mm-hmm.
Something new. That it was there was immediate some kind of immediate access to an audience if we did that. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
The beginning of that King Crimson.
So you think when I listen to older King Crimson before you and Jamie entered the band, it sound more jazzy. It sound more calm in certain way. I think when you recorded Larks, Tongues, and Aspic, it's more like a fire thing. It's more punchy. So what were the influences that you were? I know a lot of the improvisational thing on this record and on your compositions and everything, but I want to know what you were listening to and how did you get together to make that sound and that big change from the previous albums. I know that you talk about some raga thing. It's interesting to make this connection, because when you think about raga things, you think more of a reflective thing, more calm thing. So to combine this with some, I can say some anger playing, some thing like this, it's very interesting to me, and I would like to know how did you guys came up with the change in that sound.
Well, there wasn't a change because we weren't part of the. Robert was the only person who'd been in King Crimson, so we didn't have anything to change.
Mm-hmm.
The material was all going to be ours and was all going to be new, so change wasn't involved. It was just creation that was involved. So There are kind of number of questions in there. Can you pick out one?
No, yeah, yeah. It's because the one thing that makes me very interesting, because when I think about Larks, it's like the battle between not good and bad, but calm and rage, something like this. Like two worlds, like yin and yang.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I'm trying to think what's really, yes. I suppose there is an element of rage. Yeah. I mean, it's just I don't think we. I think those the kind of calm and rage thing are kind of more are emotional components, aren't they? Really. I mean, I think they would have been there whatever kind of music came out, because those are the things that come from your kind of worldview or your personal circumstances at the time. So I think they would have emerged anyway, whatever style we've been playing. Maybe been a sort of straight ahead pop band or a jazz band. I think the rage and stuff would have come through. But I think it was just a product of the people, and there was a real sense of listening between everybody in the band, and I think everything came from that. I mean, there was no kind of the improvisation is, I know, is a very important part of it, because what you're trying to do there is trying to create something new.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to rely on your feelings to do that. Sorry, I'm not doing a very good job of explaining. I don't think I know the answer to the question.
No, that's fine.
Probably too difficult for me.
No, that's fine. Because when I think of the improvisational thing, I was thinking I'm a musician too, not a very good musician, but when I started improvising, it's like you said, it's the feelings came out. And I want to know when you were recording, when you were playing, what kind of feelings are you guys feeling at the time to make the.
I can't speak very good here. Very nervous myself, I think, a lot of the time. I'd only done a bit of recording before, and that had gone. That was okay. That had gone quite well, but it was a lot of it was new to me, and it was quite difficult. It was difficult to get it played well enough to get it to sound how I wanted it to. So there's an element of frustration through the whole thing, really. With myself only. But it was just frustrating to not be able to make things sound as I wanted them to. I didn't know enough about recording to be able to, to add much to the process myself. Whereas, actually all the others, the other three anyway, and Jamie probably as well, they seemed they had a very good idea of what could be done with recording, how to use a studio, and how to make it work for you. And I was not having so much luck with that. I had a lot of help from obviously engineer and from Robert particularly, and all the others.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was regards feelings. You have the feelings that are appropriate to the music you're playing, don't you? So, I couldn't go through each one and give it a name.
No, okay, yeah.
you engage a kind of you engage what you're feeling at the time, and you try and see what's relevant to what you're playing. But you don't sit around and choose it. It's not an intellectual game. It's how you play. You play with feelings, so you play from the heart, from your guts, and see what comes out.
And how do you think Larks sound so new and so fresh, even after 50 years?
I think that's true, and I suppose because it's not a line it's not a kind of model that other people have used, is it? I mean, I don't know, because I don't listen to that much music to know, but I haven't in the last couple of years. I have been more, but it's I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why it sounds good. I just guess nobody else has done something like that. You would probably know more about it than I do. Are there other albums that are similar?
Nowadays?
Or ever?
Or ever? Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't think so. I think that's why they are so special.
Yes, I think we were conscious of it being something new and different, and I think that gave us, particularly the process by which we made it, gave us a confidence in doing something new. I think that's very hard to. Trying to do something new is incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Artistically, it's incredibly difficult, and then through trying to get it in front of people is also incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Find a vehicle through which you can do it. So, there are commercial pressures which stop you doing it. There are artistic pressures from society, other people that stop you doing it. So it is actually very hard. And I think we were very lucky to have a kind of commercial, semi-commercial setup that was able to get us in front of an audience and get the music heard and played. Against all the odds, really. I mean, the dynamic contrasts were really big in that, and it's very hard to play it on the radio at the time. So, we were lucky anybody listened to any of it. I don't know. It was the process of doing it. We kind of did a 6-week rehearsal and preparation period, and then we did a UK tour, and of that music, and somehow that process really gave us a kind of mood of the time, which people were actually listening to what we were doing, gave us a kind of confidence, I think, to go ahead and record it. But I don't know. It was already changing. As we moved, as King Crimson carried on after that, we were kind of moving away from that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what King. And we never returned to that. We just moved away from it, which was a shame in a way, because I think there are other adventures we could have had if we'd been kind of
the
adventure than we were, And I was included. I'm not excluding myself from that. I mean, it's very seductive to create successful rock songs and that kind of thing, and it's it's a real, and that's a very incredibly creative thing to do. But we kind of turned towards doing that, and I certainly was into doing that, but we didn't really look at that path again, which was a much more open playing field, much more open canvas than we ever did again.
And to end our last question here, I was researching that Robert, when in the process of making Larks songs and Aspic, he was listening a lot to Bela Bartók, the Hungarian composer. And years and years later, Dialeto, the Brazilian band, asked you to play in Bartók in rock. I think this is a very nice combination of two things. Like in two different moments of your life, Bartók came again. So I would like to know how was it to play with Dialeto? How was the recording process? Did you record it in UK? Did you came to Brazil to record with them?
I can't. I did. I think I recorded it here initially, but yes, I think we just did rehearsing concerts. So I recorded it here. Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, I'd never Bartok was very important to me as well. And I'd never kind of moved away from that really. So it wasn't. It was, it was a natural meeting point really. What they were doing, and I thought it was a really good idea, and I thought that Nelson and the band really executed it really well. I thought it was very effective. So I love doing it. Yeah, yes, and they're great people, great band. And it's demanding work to do. But I think it brings something to the table. I think it's interesting to hear the same tunes that Bartók. I mean, he was taking the tunes, most of the tunes that we were using from Romanian folk music anyway. So it was kind of, we were lifting them and kind of through Bartók saw what he'd done with them, and then Nelson kind of presented them in a new way. So it was, it's very exciting. Yeah, no, it is. I'm looking forward.
It's a very challenging I think to play and record this.
Yeah, it is. It's not easy, but yeah, a lot of rock music is particularly progressive. It's tricky, isn't it? That's what makes it interesting. Yeah, it's it's something. It is difficult. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to play well. It's hard to be kind of relaxed inside it, and that's obviously very important. Certainly Dialetto can do it. Thank goodness they can. So they kind of set the tone really, and they're very comfortable with it. It's still a challenge for me. I'll do my best.
And now the last question. Sorry, because I think I really really enjoy your album, The Sign of the Crow. So I would like to know if you anybody who can listen to your band, the David Cross band, if you recommend this album or you have another one to make the people know your music and you better.
I always think for the David Cross band that there's Sign of the Crow and Closer Than Skin. I think Closer Than Skin is another album that I'm particularly pleased with, because I think we had a kind of a language, a kind of way of writing songs that kind of held together and was pretty consistent during the period of those two albums. So I think if that's if people want to find out what I've been doing about both of those are a place to start.
Perfect. Thank you. David, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your talk. It was very pleasing to talk to you. Again, it's an honor to talk with you. And we'll see you on next Tuesday. I'll be there in São Paulo.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.